It is officially official. What we all knew, but it is now official. It is no longer the pink elephant in the room. It is now real deal Holyfield. And that is that Jameis Winston is no longer the Saints starting quarterback. If you haven't seen the news, if you haven't heard the news, if you haven't watched Dennis Allen's press conference already, he officially announced today that Andy Dalton will be the starter going forward. And he said that it had nothing to do with injuries. It simply was a matter of performance. It means essentially that what he was saying was that even though Jameis still isn't fully healthy, he said that Jameis Winston is healthy enough to play. So essentially, guys, that means that this is no longer we're giving Jameis rest to get back into the fold. No, Dennis Allen said that Jameis Winston is healthy enough to play right now. And honestly, Jameis Winston right now is probably going to be the healthiest that he's going to be for the rest of the season. Like, a bad back is not something that's just going to heal miraculously in 3 months, as long as he has a bad ankle. Like, he is what he is at this point. Like, how healthy he is right now is probably how healthy he's going to be for the rest of this season until the offseason when he gets a full rehab program to actually rehab. So that means that if we wanted Jameis Winston in that quarterback this week, we could have him in. Like, he is ready to play. But Dennis Allen said that Jameis Winston is no longer going to be the starter, that Andy Dalton will be going forward. And I'll say this. I'm not going to write Jameis Winston's obituary yet, but I do think that Jameis will be our starter again at some point because I don't trust Andy Dalton to stay healthy. Like, knowing the Saints' luck, right? Like, y'all know that Dalton's going to get hurt again at some point. I mean, it's just the way the Saints' luck has been this season. So I do expect Jameis Winston to be our starting quarterback again at some point. But what today also signifies in a big picture thing is that this, y'all, and I've been saying it all offseason, and fans didn't want to agree with me. Some fans got on my back about it because, you know, we have this thing as fans that we have to be all in on whoever is wearing black and gold, which is fine. I support everybody who is wearing black and gold. Obviously, we all do, right? Like, and I said it a million times. I say I want Jameis Winston to be the guy for our team for the next decade. He had a shot, folks. It didn't work out. It didn't work out, and today signifies that Jameis Winston, and maybe a lot of you guys will finally accept it, is not going to be our quarterback of the future. He's just not. Jameis Winston era officially basically ended today. He might start a few more games later this year if Andy Dalton gets hurt or whatever, but I've said it for many, many live streams and reaction videos now, guys. The future quarterback of the New Orleans Saints is not on this team right now. It's just not. We may not have our future quarterback till 2024, to be honest with you, when we have to draft capital to finally go after a quarterback. We'll see. Who knows what Mickey Loomis and them are going to try to do this offseason to do at quarterback. But the future quarterback of the New Orleans Saints is not on this roster right now. And I think you all, many of you all, can finally accept that Jameis Winston is just not that guy. We want him to be. We cheer for him to be. I'm still cheering for Jameis, right? Like, he is a great leader. He's a good guy. I wish his career worked out better than the way it's gone so far. And it's sad because he was doing damn good last season before the ACL injury happened, and that just put a huge, it's like he ran into a brick wall as far as his career momentum. But the NFL is not fair. The F in the NFL does not stand for fair. It is an unfair league, and it seems like Jameis Winston's Saints career, I know for a fact, we all should know by now. Like, if you're still saying, no, Jameis, we believe in Jameis, he's going to be the guy. No. His Saints career is basically over. Now, maybe, he goes to a team next year, he finds a way to be the starter, and he finally turns it around. We'll be cheering for him, right? As long as it's not with the Falcons or the Panthers or whatever. But Jameis Winston's career as a starter in New Orleans and his window of being the guy to take over Drew Brees' spot, guys, that is officially over with. And I hope you all accept it. I hope we can stop with these silly Jameis Winston debates. And, we always have the fans who want to give every excuse in the book. Look, again, the F in the NFL does not stand for fair. It's not a fair league. And Jameis Winston had a shot to be the guy. A lot of the things that happened, unfortunately, is somewhat under his control. Like, you can't control your ACL getting torn, right? But then there's some things that he did this year that was just like, dude, come on, like you gotta eventually show that you're not the guy that everybody believes you to be, right? Like he has some turnovers and some questionable throws, man, and decisions that just made you question, like, is this guy ever gonna actually get it? Like, is he ever gonna get how to be a top tier quarterback? He didn't even have to be a top tier quarterback. I kept saying, like, James has to simply be in the middle of the pack. If he's the middle of the pack quarterback, that should have been good enough for us to be a solid team. I mean, we have a lot more issues than quarterback, don't get me wrong, but Jameis didn't even give himself a shot. And again, I know he has the broken back, the bad ankle, and that's another thing. Like, it seems like, in my opinion, Jameis's body is just simply breaking down, which is sad, because he's still relatively young, but his body is breaking down. You don't want to invest a lot of money into a quarterback who, for the past 2 seasons, has had a torn ACL, a broken back, and a bad ankle. You don't want to do that. We're already kind of stuck with the Michael Thomas contract, and it seems like Michael Thomas's body is breaking down. You don't want to do that with the quarterback. You damn sure don't want to do that. So it was a fun, 3 years essentially with Jameis Winston. He gave us a lot of good memories. He gave us a lot of laughs. But he is not that guy, folks. He simply is not that guy. Maybe he never was. I hope fans stop wasting their energy on this Andy Dalton versus Jameis Winston debate, because don't get me wrong, Andy Dalton ain't that guy either, but he might be, I guess, the best of what's available for whatever dark window of this season we have left. And again, hey, if we win Sunday against the Raiders, because the NFC South is so bad, we still have a shot to maybe back into the playoffs. I agree, Sherry. The Raiders game is probably the last hope that we can maybe, because if we can't beat the Raiders and we're 2-6, at that point, I don't give a shit how bad the NFC South is. Like, I would have no faith that Dennis Allen can do anything. And I saw the injury report today, and Lattimore looks like he's still going to be out. Thomas came back to practice, but he wasn't really practicing. So I'm like, God damn, dude, how long is your toe going to be out? Jarvis Landry is still out, which confuses the hell out of me, because he went from being a game-time decision who was possibly, as Dennis Allen said, going to play versus the Seahawks, to now he's out for the past month. Like, what the hell? It seems like we didn't, we were saying, oh, this mini bye week we have after the Cardinals game, we're going to get it healthy. It doesn't seem like we got that much healthy at all. So, I mean, I'm honestly over it, but thank God the NFC South sucks that we still have a little bit of hope. Yeah, turf toe could be serious. Don't get me wrong, I understand that. It's just a matter of the fact that Thomas' body, and I love Michael Thomas. I'm still wearing a jersey. I love Michael Thomas. It just seems like his body is starting to break down too, which sucks. Like, like I said in one of my live streams earlier, it's Murphy's Law with this team, y'all. Like, everything that can go wrong with this team is going wrong. Like, the players that we were counting on to be the future of this team, it seems like their bodies are starting to break down. The players, the veterans who we were counting on to, plug and play essentially, like with Tyrann Mathieu, he's playing like shit. Like, the coaching sucks. Like, everything that can go wrong with this team is going wrong. So, thank God for the Pelicans, right? I don't know if y'all saw that Pelicans game yesterday, but the Pelicans are like the complete opposite of the Saints right now. They fight hard every game. Even when they have injuries, the Pelicans were down there 3 of the top players yesterday, and they still found the way to beat a good team. And they had that Smoothie King Center rocking. They had that Smoothie King Center rocking way more than the Superdome's been rocking all year. So if you want a good alternative to the Saints, look down the street. The Pelicans are doing the goddamn thing. But for Jameis, man, I feel bad for the dude. The dude seems like a great guy. Like, I'm still going to be cheering for him no matter what happens in his future. But taking off my black and gold glasses, I just don't know if there's a pathway at this point anyway for him to be a starter. Not only, like I said, y'all, I think the window for him as the Saints quarterback of the future is shut. Like, he's not going to be the guy going forward. And y'all should have known that, and I kept saying this, y'all should have known that when we went after Deshaun Watson hard. Like, we were going hard after Deshaun Watson. That should have shown y'all what our front office and Dennis Allen believed in Jameis Winston. But it seems like everybody wanted to glance over that fact because it was like, why would you not go after Deshaun Watson, even though he had like 23 fucking not rape, let me be careful with my words, sexual assault charges. And it was like, oh, but Jameis is still the guy. And I'm like, is he really the guy if your front office is willing to go with a guy with sexual assault charges over him? Like, Jameis was our plan B. But the Jameis Winston window, y'all, is shut. It's completely shut. He's not going to be the Saints quarterback of the future. I do think he's going to play quarterback for us again at some point this season because I do not trust Andy Dalton staying healthy for the rest of the season. And maybe, maybe because NFC South sucks, Jameis can, it might be a Cinderella type story, right? But that's where we're at this point. Like, we're hoping for the miracle story, like the best case scenario. Oh, Jameis Winston has a triumphant return, and he leads the Saints to the final 2 wins of the season, which miraculously is only going to get them at 7-10, but good enough to win the NFC South, and he goes in this crazy run in the playoffs, But I also miraculously hope I win the lottery tomorrow, right? Like, there's reality, and then there's the fairy tales that you wish for. And the reality is that Jameis Winston probably will no longer be the Saints quarterback following this season. Who knows who's our quarterback going to be next season, to be honest with you. But the damn sure ain't going to be Jameis Winston. But I will be cheering for him, whatever he does going forward in his career. It sucks. It really does suck. Because last year, it seemed like he was turning the corner. He was playing a little timid, but him playing timid led him to what was going to be, we assume, one of his best seasons ever. And then he tore his ACL. And sports is not fair, guys. The NFL is not fair. It is not a fair league. So here we are, going into week 8. We're 2-5. We have no faith in our head coach. We do not have a quarterback on our team. I mean, we do, but we don't. Like I said, the good thing is the NFC South sucks that we can have hope that, and I will have no apologies if we go 7-10 and get a playoff home game. I would apologize to nobody because the football gods owe us. Saints fans, New Orleans, we're going to be petty, actually. If we go 7-10 and somehow that's good enough to win the division, we're going to be petty about it. We're going to talk shit. Knowing that our team ain't shit, but we still going to talk shit because that's what we do here in New Orleans. I hope that happens just for the shits and giggles. But even with that, our future doesn't look too hot right now, guys. Our future, with the bad contracts we don't have a first-round draft pick. Like, we don't have a quarterback of the future on our team right now. It looks bad, but, if you want to be glass half full, the Pelicans at this time last year, their future looked pretty bad too. And now look at the Pelicans. It takes one player, it takes one small run of games or something to turn a franchise's trajectory around. I don't think that's going to happen this year, but I do think that because the playoffs are still within grasp, we have something to play for, and we have a little bit of hope. So hopefully, we get some deserved goodwill from the football gods, and we find a way to go on a small run, maybe win 7 or 8 games. The Falcons continue to suck. The Bucks continue to suck. The Panthers continue to suck. We win the NFC South, and then from there, who knows? But even with all that, like, if all that happens, we cannot get delusional and be like, oh, everything's fine now. We made the playoffs. No, we'll still probably need to be concerned about if Dennis Allen is good head coach or not. We need to be concerned about who's going to be our quarterback going forward. We need to be concerned about a lot of these players on our team with big contracts who are aging. A lot of players on our team with bad contracts whose body seems to be breaking down. This guy mainly. Like, we have, we're about to enter a stretch that ain't looking real too hot for the Saints right now. And ironically, we still can make the playoffs this year, which would be funny. And I'm hoping for it. But goes back to my final point, which is what I said when Sean Payne retired or quit, whatever you want to call it. I told everybody, and everybody was saying, calm down, Jono. But I was like, guys, you don't lose a Hall of Fame quarterback and a Hall of Fame head coach and think that everything's going to be hunky-dory. And we tried to convince ourselves that, right? And shout out to the Saints. They went into this offseason and they still tried to, make moves to get the fans excited and to make, because the NFC does suck. If you look at the NFC sucks. So it's not like our front office was wrong. I'm okay with them doing the moves they made this offseason, but none of these moves have really worked out. Jarvis Landry has only played in 1.5 games. Tyrann Mathieu has not been good at all, if we're being honest. I think we're being a little timid with him because he's a homegrown kid and we know how great of a person he is. So fans aren't calling him out the way, if this was Marcus Williams playing the way Tyrann Mathieu is playing right now, fans will have Marcus Williams' head on the stick. But because it's Tyrann Mathieu, everybody's being a little more, fans pick and choose who they want to send their rat to. Trevor Penning got hurt, so we don't even get an investment of that draft pick yet. A lot of the moves we made this offseason haven't really worked out yet. But thank God the NFC South sucks that we still have a goddamn shot at making the playoffs, which would be hilarious. But still, our window seems to be pretty bleak. Doesn't mean that, I'm saying give up all, yada, yada, yada. No, I'm just saying that if you look at it from an unbiased point of view, y'all, I just don't think the Saints' future looks too bright. We can obviously turn it around. We did it in 2005. We went 3-13. Katrina, everybody was like, move the team to San Antonio, yada, yada, yada. It took one move, two moves that wind up being the greatest moves in Saints history. We hired Sean Payton and we got Drew Brees, and that turned out to be the greatest, franchise turning offseason in Saints history. It can be done again, but the problem is I don't see Mickey Loomis firing Dennis Allen so quickly after one season. So, I made a comparison last week. I say it's funny how bad the Pelicans looked at this point last year, but what did it take? Remember when we had Stan Van Gundy and how bad he was? What did the team do? They swallowed their pride. They said, you know what? We made a mistake. Stan Van Gundy is not a good fit for this team. So we're going to fire him now, take our L, pay him all the money we owe him, and we're going to find somebody who's a better fit for the future of this franchise. Enter Willie Green, who's now one of the best head coaches in the league, one of the best up-and-coming head coaches and one of the best current head coaches in the league. And look how bright the Pelicans' future looks. So in my opinion, for us to have that type of turnaround where our future goes from bleak to optimistic, you got to fire Dennis Allen. But I think Mickey Loomis is too hard-headed that he's going to be like, nope, I'm going to give, no matter what happens this year, I'm going to give Dennis Allen one more shot next year. And then that's going to be another year where we hope and pray that Dennis Allen turns it around. But hell, we hope Dennis Allen turns it around this Sunday, right? Like, goddamn, dude, if you can't beat your old team at home after 10 days off, essentially, I mean, dude couldn't beat Matt Rule. I'm getting mad thinking about that game again. Dude couldn't beat the Carolina Panthers. Tampa couldn't either, but we ain't worrying about Tampa Bay. We're talking about the Saints right now. He couldn't beat Matt Rule and Cliff Kingsbury. I just got no faith in that dude right now, but I hope he makes me look stupid. Y'all know me. I'm willing to take my L's, and I'm willing to apologize if I'm wrong about something. But Dennis Allen has shown me nothing to make me think that he's the guy. The only thing that's saving his ass right now from me going scorched earth is that the NFC South sucks. So he's still, the football guys gave him a Christmas miracle. He still has a chance to make the playoffs at 7-10. Now we're asking for Dennis Allen to do the bare minimum. Suck less than the Bucks, Panthers, and Falcons. We ain't asking him to make us a good team, because I don't believe he can make us a good team. But just suck less. We can make t-shirts about that. Just suck less than the Bucks, Panthers, and Falcons. Dude, if you cannot just suck less than those three teams right now, then goddamn, get the hell out of our city. Like, get the hell out of our city. Like, the football guys have given him the easiest type of path to the playoffs. 7 wins might be good enough in the NFC South. If you can't do that, good God have mercy. We are going to be in for some dark days if Mickey Loomis decides not to fire Dennis Allen if we don't make the playoffs this year. But I'll be cheering for us to turn this ship around starting Sunday. And, guys, we got to own up to the fact we ain't going to be a 9-10 win team this year. We're just not. We're not good enough. We're not good enough. We don't have the talent. Our talent is overrated at this point. Our coaching is bad. We don't have the talent to go 9-8 or 10-7. But I do think we can go 7-10. I do think we could go 8-9, and that might be good enough this year to win the NFC South. Which, if it does, great. Go Dennis Allen. Go Andy Dalton. Go Jameis Winston. Whoever is the guy who's going to be the quarterback by December. You know how the Saints' life is. We're probably going to go through like 5 quarterbacks until week 17. But we're in an odd place. We're in an odd place, so thank God for the Pelicans. So this was just a quick live, y'all, for me to rant, to vent. I got 45 people on here. Thank God. I love you guys. I see that the Saints fans are hungry for, reactions. I'm doing this from my phone, so I don't get the comments the way I do on my computer. So I'm looking at my computer now, and I see a lot of you guys in the chat section. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to Jerry. Shout out to my dude, Royce. Shout out to Royce. You never go on my chat. What up, dude? Shout out to St. John Butler. Shout out to Cherry. Shout out to Luann. Ryan, Judah, I see a lot of you guys. Yeah, man, I don't know if y'all see I'm in California right now, actually. I'm not even in New Orleans, so I don't have my equipment to do a live stream, but I'm sure they're going to have some good Saints live streams and podcasts coming up in the next few hours and tonight where you guys can make your voice heard. But, yeah, I guess, shout out to Jameis Winston. Again, he gave us some good memories in his 3 years here as a Saint. I'll never forget that touchdown pass against the Bucks in the playoffs. After that touchdown pass he threw, I was convinced we were going to the NFC Championship game. The wheels unfortunately fell off after that when Jared Cook, when his ass fumbled the ball. But after Jameis Winston threw that touchdown against his old team in the playoffs, I was convinced we were going to the NFC Championship game. And then the next year, Jameis was playing solid football. The defense was playing amazing. I was convinced we were going to be in the playoffs. Typical Saints look. After that, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. But from Jameis dancing in the locker room, to Jameis doing his funny workouts, his great pep talks and his speeches, his church type audibles or whatever in the huddle when DeMario Davis does his pregame huddles. Jameis is a hilarious guy. He's a funny guy. He gave back a lot to the city of New Orleans. He's a great leader. If no team wants to sign him, I would love to have Jameis back as a backup. I would love for him to be go to Chase Daniel route and just be a career-long backup. I would love that. I would love for him to continue to wear back and go as a backup, but he is not, unfortunately, and I hate to say it. And God bless him if he proves me wrong, but he is not the guy for the future. He is not a starting quarterback, and he is not the Saints quarterback of the future. So yeah, hope you guys don't waste any more of your energy on Jameis Winston debates, and hopefully you guys don't waste any more energy on Jameis Winston versus Andy Dalton debates. They're both mid. It's like arguing, do you want to get shot by gun wound or do you want to get stabbed by knife? Like, you're taking the L at the end of the day. You're taking the L, so what's the point of debate? Like, who cares? Just end me already. Shit. I see, is that important act so weird that they're not even going to wait until he's healthy? I'm assuming he's talking about Jameis. Well, again, guys, we can talk about health all we want, but that's 2 years now that Jameis has had critical injuries. Like, again, the F in the NFL does not stand for fair. It's an unfair league. Your best ability is availability, and Jameis has not given us any availability the past 2 years. So we can't keep doing, just wait till he gets healthy. Just wait till he gets healthy. Because if we go into 2023 and we're like, oh, Jameis is healthy now, he's back, and then Jameis gets hurt again, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? Like, the same thing with Michael Thomas. The only thing about Michael Thomas is that his contract is so huge, we can't trade him. I guarantee you the team would be willing to trade him if they could. Michael Thomas has played 4 games in the past 2 seasons. And this sucks, right? Because Michael Thomas is a damn good player. He's amazing. He took over that Falcons game in week 1. He got everybody excited that Michael Thomas is back. And then he had the turf tour in Carolina. Injuries that you can't, it is what it is. It's a brutal game. I feel bad for Michael Thomas. I think Michael Thomas can get healthy and he's going to be back to the same Michael Thomas we know and love. The problem is I'm starting to believe that Michael Thomas's body is also breaking down too. He plays a very physical game that is not meant to be loaned in the NFL. Same with guys like Cam Newton. When they're at their peak, it was great, but they're the type of players that their bodies can only withstand so much punishment before it starts to break down. Same with Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill has been amazing for us the past few years. I give Taysom Hill maybe 1 or 2 more years, and then his body going to start really breaking down, like where you can't be the Taysom Hill that we know and love because your body can only put up with so much physical punishment if you are one of those physical type of players. Michael Thomas, what made him so great for me to watch was that he was just one of these physical wide receivers, right? Like just a linebacker who is playing wide receiver. That's how damn physical Michael Thomas was. Unfortunately, that has a cap limit to it, and that is that your body is probably going to break down quicker than it might for any other type of wide receiver. So I'm starting to worry that Michael Thomas's body is breaking down. Now, with that said, we have him until 2024 because no team is going to trade for that contract until that cap hit starts to get less, which it won't until 2024. So hopefully Michael comes back and he continues to give us the memories of what we know he can be, like 2019. But it's just one of those days that once you see a player's body starting to break down, it is what it is. It's not fair, but it's a business. The NFL is not fair. Jameis Winston's body is clearly starting to break down. It's 2 years now, guys. Broken back, torn ACL, bad ankle. You cannot invest. You cannot keep going into offseason saying, "Oh, I hope this is the No, the NFL is not for long. Like we don't have life is not long, right? Like we can't go into multiple off seasons hoping, hey, this is the year that James is going to finally be healthy again. No, like you gotta go. Next man up. Who's the next guy who could possibly be our quarterback? We can't keep wasting Saints seasons hoping that such and such gets healthy. They're showing you who they are at some point. They are showing you who they are. I hope Jameis gets healthy and finds a team that's winning, and he has. But there's a lot of players in NFL history who are good people who we hope was able to get healthy. You just can't keep relying on. Just wait till he gets healthy. Just wait till he gets healthy. This is the NFL. It's not a waiting business. It's not. So appreciate you all in the chat. I'm gonna do a live stream when I get back home where I can actually put the chat up on my screen and we can have a conversation. I can have you guys live stream in. But hey, again, so let's end this on a positive note. The Saints are one game. The Saints are one game behind the Bucs for the number one spot in NFC South. The season is not over. I have confidence that we can beat the Raiders on Sunday. I really do. I have confidence that we can win 7 games this season, maybe 8. I have confidence that we can do that. And I have confidence that the NFC South is going to continue to be mediocre, that we might have a shot. Like, it's going to be December, and our playoff window is still going to be open. Like, that's a good thing. We don't deserve it, but Seattle didn't deserve it in 2010, and that didn't stop them from being a clearly superior Saints team, and they had a memory of a lifetime with the goddamn Beastquake. So why can't the Saints do that, right? Like, why can't we go 7-10, host a playoff game? The media going to be complaining, the Saints don't deserve to have a playoff game. That's not fair. Because we're probably playing like the Giants, the 13-4 Giants, or like the 12-5 Cowboys versus the 7-10 Saints in New Orleans. The fans are going to be complaining about that. Who gives a shit, right? Who gives a shit? It's going to be hilarious to us. We deserve it. Football guys been shitting on us for the past 12 years. We deserve a little goodwill. So I'm cheering, and I'm hopeful that the Saints put up enough wins to win the NFC South. I also am smart enough and realistic enough to know that whatever happens, whether we continue to flop this season and just have a shitty season and we get Philadelphia a top 5, top 10 pick, or whether we get finally a horseshoe up our ass and we make the playoffs at 7-10, 8-9, I'm still realistic enough to know that Jameis Winston is not the Saints quarterback of the future, that the current Saints quarterback of the future is not even on the team right now, that Dennis Allen is not that great of a head coach, and that the Saints have a lot of work to do to turn this ship around. But it's better to do all that shit while making the playoffs than to not, right? So let's hope we make the playoffs. Thank you guys for joining this live stream. I was just ranting and venting like I usually do. I appreciate every single one of you guys, no matter what. No matter what. Y'all know at the end of the day, it's still who that. Hit the like and subscribe button. And go support the Pelicans, y'all. I'm telling y'all, the Pelicans might bring this city a championship. I'm not going to even say the full day. I'm not trying to jinx it. But go support the Pelicans. Appreciate y'all. It's still who that.